Alright, hi everybody, it's Bonkai922. About to do this review. The Akame ga Kiru chapter review. That's going to come up later. I figured I might as well get what came out today over with. And after this, I'll probably go into Dosudamas' Death Squad. Magi came out. Yeah, it came out late. Kind of a surprise about that. 205, so this will be chapter 205 review of Magi. King's Vessel. What is a king vessel? Now, this chapter is getting a 4 out of 5. This chapter in itself was just confirmation. That is pretty much what this chapter was. It was confirmation of two things. One having to do with Ugo, who is what was I gonna say? The remember, Aladdin's friend, Ugo. We find out that Ugo was the guardian of the palace. And we find out what his role and everything was in this chapter, which I will get into in this review. We also find out something else that I think everybody kind of knew, but some people, I guess, didn't know. And that was the thing about the king vessel, the whole concept of a Magi selecting a king. And that there's more kings than there should be. And that's what Yunnan is basically talking to Aladdin about, saying that, oh, they're obviously going to fight one another. So there was that. But yeah, let's get into this chapter review. Beginning summary, nothing really. We had Sinbad saying he's mad and he's complaining to Yunnan. And he wants to talk with Yunnan and Aladdin, but Yunnan's saying, I want to talk to him alone. And Aladdin's like, oh, these two don't get along with each other. And he says, get away from Aladdin, and so on and so forth, and so on and so forth. And apparently Sinbad's gripe is that it's your fault to Yunnan. That Yunnan, he is equally guilty as Judal, saying that he's the perpetrator that made the dungeons appear and threw this world into chaos. So apparently, according to Sinbad, Yunnan is bad as freaking Judal, which but Yunnan's basically telling him, Yunnan's probably just telling Sinbad here that, I did my best to retract the dungeons that Judal brought out. So that's his gripe, Sinbad. Yunnan's basically saying, yeah, Sinbad, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And they basically leave. And that's when they leave on a broomstick, and Yunnan does this most... This blew me away, what Yunnan did. Which I think he did when... Remember the scene beforehand when Morgiana went to the Dark Continent and she couldn't find it and she fell in that hole and she met Yunnan? That house, most likely what Yunnan did here, he did back then. At least that's from what I'm seeing here. Basically, he does this spell called alchemic magic, and John's like, oh, what's this? And he takes all the trees, like all the freaking trees from the Cinderia Empire, the country of the island of Cinderia, and he starts making a house. I was like, what is going on here? He starts making a cabin. I was like, wow, that is some serious stuff going down. And we see Yama. She's there too, and she's so fantastic. She's like, I've never seen your formula like this. What in the world is that wonderful person, And then they go into the house, and then Sinbad follows them, tries to get in, but they can't. He can't. He's like, let me in, you bastard! You can't do what you want on other people's garden without permission. It was so funny. So basically, Sinbad can't get in, so they're alone, Yunnan and Aladdin, and that's when they start talking. he starts explaining about the room, Yunnan, how he creates it. There are also small. He's saying there's stuff here you can touch with your hands and things you can see, but there are also smaller beings. He's saying, and the world takes shape because those small particles take each other's hands. Basically, saying these smaller particle beings that go hand in hand. They take each other's hands together, and that's what creates what he created. Which is kind of it was a weird kind of explanation, almost like, I don't want to say atoms, but that's what it kind of was. It was smaller particles, and basically he's explaining that, and he's saying how he makes different things, made food, bread, and 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 Aladdin's like totally wowed by him, and saying that he never learned this at Magistet and everything, and saying he's an incredible magician. He knows truths about the world that no one else does, but the magic. And he's like saying, "Oh, you're eating a clown, Aladdin," and so on and so forth. And he says, "Thank you for the food." And that's what he explains about Ugo. Apparently, Ugo is the guardian of the palace. And he says that once life ceases, it goes back to the great flow. But a Magi's Rook is not like that. And he says, I died several times. Every time I die, it goes back to the sacred place, and I'm born again to the world as a Magi when the right age comes. And then he's realizing, oh, that's how Titus was brought back to life. Before dying. Yeah, and he's saying, was born 9 times. That's what he said. He says 9 times. He was born 9 times. So pretty much what that means is, when they die, remember when, let's go rewind here. Remember when Scheherazade died, and she went to that palace with Ugo. And the thing about it is, they can't talk to Ugo in that form. So she pointed to Titus, and he was sent to become the new Magi instead of Scheherazade. And that's basically what happens. That's how it is done. And he's explained to Aladdin, how he learned it from Morgiana and everything. Saying that he's thinking it was a countermeasure against Al-Tharamin and everything, but he couldn't talk to him, to the guardian of the sacred place. You cannot talk to him, apparently. In your Rook form, you can't talk to him. And so on and so forth. So he explains that. And then he explains about Sinbad. And how Aladdin's saying to him, to Yunnan, it was a whole big conversation, but logistically what he was saying to him was, Aladdin was explaining to him, was he doesn't feel like, he was basically talking about why didn't you choose Sinbad as your king? And he says that he didn't choose him, because I really love all the citizens, yet I wonder, it's strange that he really liked him, but he felt that become his Magi was really dangerous. And then that's when Yunnan brings up a king vessel. And Yunnan says he really scares me and everything, the concept of a king vessel. And basically he's saying that the Magis choose a king vessel user. Then the new kings establish an empire and kill a great number of people and so on and so forth is being determined. What in the world is a king vessel? The meaning of a king vessel, Aladdin's saying, and he says that originally there should be only just 1 or 2 kings in every age. But in this age, there are several kings fiercely fought each other because of their different wills. And in this picture, we see Sinbad, we see Kouen, we see Hakureyu, we see all the other princesses and other kings, especially ones from the Kouen Empire. And we see, I think, a few of them that were from balbadd. And saying that then the one who survives maybe creates the right destiny for this world. This is just a clarification. Anyone who's read Magi from the start till now pretty much knows, oh, this is what's eventually going to happen. Not now, not this moment, but eventually they're going to have to fight. Logistically. And after he's told this, Aladdin, the immediately next reaction he's thinking about is Alibaba. And we go back to Alibaba. He's at the port of Balbadd, and then we see Morgiana saying, "This is Balbadd." You see the scene when he meets Kouen, and last page, he was born in this land, he grew up in this land, he lost this land and ran away from it. Alibaba finally returns to Balbadd. You don't get a real good look at Balbadd, but you do see some flags here and there. Well, not really. You don't really get a good look of what it looks like. But that's when the chapter ends. Now, this kind of, like I said, this was a confirmation. That's all this was. This was just confirming that... fucking thing. Sorry about that. Like I was saying, this was just confirming what we already know. Well, the Ugo thing, that was new. That was new. And I'm giving this a 4. I should actually, I'll give this a 4.5. Only because I did not know that about Ugo. That essentially a Magi's Rook goes to that sacred palace and they get reborn. And Yunan's been reborn like 9 times. So... it's pretty crazy, I think. And the whole premise that Yunnan was speaking of with the countermeasure, I think that's true. I think the Magis needed to be reborn so that they can compete, they can protect the world against any kind of evil that has been going on. But overall, good chapter, 4.5 out of 5. Like I said, the thing with the King Vessel, we pretty much know eventually that's going to happen. And the people you saw there, it's like, you see Hakureyu, you see Kouen, you see Sinbad, you see all the other princesses and stuff. Essentially, though, the way I look at it is this. It's Alibaba, it's Sinbad, it's Kouen, it's Hakureyu. Those are the 4. Those are the 4. Now, Hakureyu, though, he has a Magi. Judar, if you want to call it that way. And so does Alibaba. Sinbad doesn't have a Magi. Neither does Kouen. So it's like... And I have a feeling next week we're going to get another what the fuck from Kouen. He's going to be like... I just have a feeling he's going to be criticizing Alibaba again. Pushing him down. But we'll see on that. But this was a good chapter. Most of it was confirmation, though. But the Ugo thing, I'm glad we got an explanation on that. I'm glad now that we know how it was that Titus was able to come back. I understand that now. So that means, essentially, each, Magi can come back to life. It's not like they have immortality. It's just, if they want, they can come back to life. But... that's the whole bit. You heard Yuna 9 times? 9 times. Unbelievable. But good chapter. Glad to see we got explanations here. Next week's going to be huge, though. Holy shit. Holy shit. How the hell is this going to go down? I can only imagine. Kouen and Alibaba. This is going to get really heated, I think. But we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's the story, people. Bankai Night 22. By the way, I have no anger towards Yunnan. I don't see it that way. I don't see it that way. But yeah, that's the story, people. Bankai Night 22. I'll see you guys later. 9 times. Wow, that's a lot of times to come back from the dead. Shit, that's like, whoa. 9 lifetimes. Jesus. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'll see you guys later. Peace.